Well, next, Andrew Tate will spend the next month behind bars in Romania after losing the latest appeal against his detention.
This is 17 hours ago.
Christian are being held as part of an investigation into speaking outside court. Andrew Tate said he's done nothing wrong.
Wow, that haircut's all wrong. They're really doing him dirty on that.
You know I'm innocent. There's not much justice in Romania.
True, guys. I personally, if I was innocent, I would say I was innocent, obviously. I would also say I was innocent if I was guilty, though. So, let's be real. Actually, I'm a Boy Scout. I'm an outstanding member of society. I would admit when I was wrong. I would admit when I engaged in horrible things.
Well, the pack is still with me. Plus, joining me now is the lawyer for the Tate brothers, Tina Glandian, who is in Romania. Well, welcome to you, Ms. Glandian. I really appreciate you joining me. Where are we with this case? It seems that every now and again, this pops up back on television.
It's going to be a delay.
With them being remanded for further time. How long can that process continue before a charging decision is made?
Under Romanian law, they have up to 180 days, which is in 30-day increments. So every time there's a 30-day detention order, they're allowed to renew their request and have it extended for an additional 30 days, but not to exceed 180 days.
Okay. You've taken on this case. Andrew Tate has been repeatedly bellowing his innocence as he's been led in and out of these court hearings and so on. Do you believe them? Do you believe that he and his brother...
You're asking his lawyer if they believe he's innocent? They're probably going to think that they're guilty.
Brother innocent?
At this point, Pierce, they've had this investigation going since April. We're now February, and there are not even charges filed against them. So this is a huge injustice the way we see it. They should not be detained at this point. We think
she's not even saying that she thinks he's innocent, guys. Okay, she's just saying that there's no charges, I guess.
It's now crossed over to the point where it's violating international human rights law because the deprivation of your...
I mean, the guy is on camera admitting that he treats these webcam models like, pimps treat their prostitutes. I mean, like, there's plenty of information. It's not a human rights violation. Okay. The dude is going to, the second that he gets out of jail, he's going to hop on the plane to LAX, all right? He's going to Miley Cyrus us.
Liberty, pre-trial is the most severe form of punishment a state can impose. And that's what they've done in this case. And they've had a very lengthy investigation with the government's resources. They've been analyzing and looking at all of their devices since April when they seized everything. And here we are, February, and charges aren't filed. So I think there's absolutely no evidence that's been presented. And that's our position.
How are your clients at the moment? How is Andrew Tate dealing with incarceration? I interviewed him just before Christmas. We had a long, wide-ranging interview.
Yes.
And once again, I was struck by the phenomenal following that he has online, particularly with young men. He has an enormous following there.
Mostly boys. I'm not, just saying, a lot of these people are, they're fucking kids, man. It's the truth. Even the ones that are 18, 20. I mean, people mature so slowly nowadays. And, that has a lot to do with, people not leaving the house and whatnot because they can't find jobs and shit. But, it's a bunch of young guys that, yeah, okay. It's just fucking ridiculous.
You and I know this has been whipped up now by that community into a huge framing of a narrative that this is complete injustice. There are others who think this has been a long time coming, that he's a bad human being, and that he's going to face
Hey, thank you so much for the membership, brother.
Very serious charges, and that will be the last we see of him. But how is he faring right now, given that at the moment he's in this limbo land of no charging, but being held in incarceration?
The brothers are both very strong. They're resilient, and they're holding up. But obviously,
I pray for them. Strong and resilient. May God bless you.
The conditions are not good. They're in a Romanian jail cell, and they've been detained for a very lengthy period at this point. They have limited access to their attorneys. It's not a good condition for them.
Yeah, that haircut, man, is terrible. I feel bad. I mean, look at my hair. I haven't cut it in a while. See that? Did him dirty, man. You won't even give him access to the basic human right of a haircut. Although, to be absolutely honest, and this might just be speculation, but a lot of these things are very orchestrated. I wouldn't doubt that he was told not to cut his hair so that it made him look like he's doing worse than he actually is, so he could say that he's getting deprived in some capacity. Everything is, a lot of the shit's for show. So, a lot of the reason that he's even in jail is because probably part of it because, or prison or it's jail, right? He embarrassed the Romanian government by saying he moved there because they have really lax laws and they basically are ineffective. So Andrew Tate not doing a haircut and stuff to try to make himself look disheveled. I think it's all part of the public narrative of oh my God, they're treating him so poorly because she's trying to push that it's a human rights violation. And then he intentionally makes himself look kind of shitty. You know, I could be overly speculating, but I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, they're playing every single angle. Why wouldn't they do that?
You've obviously represented a lot of people.
As far as...
Sorry, please finish.
I was gonna say, to your second point, they're controversial public figures, but that's not a crime. And at this point, we have not been provided any proof that they've committed any crimes, nor have they even been charged. So I would ask that people presume them innocent as they are.
Do they feel that they are being tried in the court of public opinion?
They know that they are. That's why she's on here. This is very all intentional.
I think the public is divided, as you know. I think they have a big following, but at the end of the day, yes, I think there is a lot of information in the public. I think there's a lot of false allegations in the public. I think some evidence has now been put forth. Again, I don't want to...
False allegation is that he's innocent, okay?
Comment too much on the facts of the case, since they're...
Based on what he said, he's told us that he like flies girls out from other countries, brings them to his area, which basically he's isolating them to an extent. He lies about how much money he's going to pay for them. He treats them like they're prostitutes. He says that he has to have sex with all of them. His own words, he's human trafficking. At this point, whether he gets a conviction or not, he's guilty. We're just going to see how effective they are. His words, literally, he's going on admitting that he's like, oh, I don't pay taxes. I use... And God bless him, but some of the absolute dumbest fucking people come into my comments and go, it's not illegal to try not to pay your tax. Everyone does it. It's like, no, you stupid fuck. There's a difference between utilizing tax loopholes and literally using Bitcoin to not pay your taxes. I mean, the intelligence standard of people who are Andrew Tate fans is fucking phenomenally low. By his own account, like, he's a human trafficker. You know, your only argument's like, yeah, but it's just a character, which I very highly doubt. Okay, he publicly brags about shit and he's embarrassed the Romanian government. They're finally doing something about it. That's what it boils down to. I mean, the guy's guilty regardless, based on his own words. Whether he gets like guilty in court or not is a different story.
There is an ongoing criminal investigation. However, I think there has been evidence put out, videos and other statements for the public to see what the supposed state of the evidence actually is.
It's been interesting to watch Andrew Tate's Twitter feed in particular, that he's continued to tweet. Is he doing that himself? Has he got people doing that for him? And how do you feel from a legal point of view? Is it a wise tactic to continue to do that on social media when you're being held in custody by the Romanian authorities?
I wonder the intentionality of this title down here. I know I'm reading a lot into it, so you can kind of like you take that with a grain of salt, but it says Andrew Tate detained, Tate brothers arrested in police raid last year. It technically happened last year, but what was it, like 2 months ago? I don't know. I'm probably just being like extra apprehensive, but like I was saying before, this is all for like the state of public appeal, and so I wonder if they're trying to like overstate the length or suggest like overstate like the length in the suggestion to try to make him seem like more of a victim than he is or something. I'm probably just thinking too much into it.
Well, again, he doesn't have access, so he's not doing anything directly. And what's being put out is...
He doesn't have access. He's not doing anything directly, which means that he's indirectly doing something. That's what those words mean. Like, lawyer speak is so scummy.
On his accounts, and I'm not going to speak as to, the source of the posts and what's being put out. But I think, again, as of now, he's not charged with anything, and he's free to comment publicly if he wishes to.
We know that they seized nearly £3.5 million in cash, 11 luxury sports cars, guns and other weapons. Are any of the things that have been seized from the property, are they in themselves acts of law breaking, just the possession of any of these things?
She's not going to say yes, even if it's true.
To my knowledge, they're not. I think
even if they are, which I don't know. She's not going to I don't why are you it's interesting that Pierce is asking her reasonable questions, but he's really just providing her a platform to just use lawyer speak to reframe the public narrative. Do you think that they had anything illegal on them? Well, as their lawyer, of course I'm going to be honest. No, not to my knowledge, right? Like what?
Or breaking, just the possession of any of these things?
To my knowledge, they're not. I think if they were, they would have been charged with crimes. Again, they had the initial search in April, and it's February. It's been 10 months, and no charges have been filed whatsoever. We have an ongoing criminal investigation for which this is a preventative detention.
Well, they just arrested them 2 months ago, if that, maybe a month ago. So obviously, it hasn't been 10 months since they started I understand they started the investigation, but they haven't had a closer look at all the stuff going on there. It's going to take a while. They're being very methodical about the information here,
which is why they're in custody. Again, this is the most severe form of punishment. I don't think it's justified under these circumstances where the prosecution hasn't set forth enough evidence to charge them, and yet they are detained. And it's being prolonged.
But you do accept, of course, that if...
Well, they have to... It's not being prolonged. They have to take a long time to review the evidence. And if they let him out, he'll just leave the country because he has the means to do that.
The women who've come forward here as part of the investigation, if they're telling the truth, these are very serious allegations against your clients. which could lead to charging, and if it led to charging, could lead potentially to long prison sentences if found guilty.
True. Based.
Certainly the crimes at issue are very serious crimes. And I think, Pierce, actually, it was on your show when you interviewed Tate several months ago. He made very strong statements about his position on rape, and he condemned rape, and he said it was disgusting, I'm pretty sure.
And then he also told women that they have a level of responsibility if they get raped. Of course, these are all things that condemn rape, obviously.
For the word he used, and he said he thought...
Of course, he said that he moved to Romania to get away from the very prevalent Me Too narrative, and so he can engage in government corruption. But those are not relevant. But he said rape bad. Guys, rape bad. I'm good. Okay. Incredible stuff. Yeah, I have a lot of video game donkey on my sidebar. I've been watching them a lot.
Somebody who does that deserves the death penalty. So there's no question that these are serious charges and that somebody who does that deserves the death penalty. So there's...
You know, that's funny because I kind of disagree. I'm going to tell you why I disagree with the death penalty for rape. I used to agree with it. I forgot what country I was. It might have been Singapore or something. I don't remember. But they talked about how if there's the death penalty for sexual assault, what ends up happening is that it leads to a higher chance or higher likeliness that the victims are murdered. Because then, you know, if they speak out, the person's put the committer is put to death. So, you know, obviously, I think you deserve to die if you rape somebody, but I guess from a legal standpoint, it's not good for the victim. Isn't that crazy? Because it leads to higher death rates for people that so instead of just being sexually assaulted, they get murdered afterwards because they don't want to leave them alive to admit it. You know. Crazy shit, man.
There's no question that these are serious charges, and even in his own words, they're very serious charges. There just isn't any evidence that they committed these crimes.
But you know, we've also had tapes which have emerged in the last few weeks of him talking about rape to a woman.
Hey, what's up?
In a pretty unsavory manner. So what is your response to that?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. You said what surfaced?
There have been various tapes have surfaced in part of media
Andrew Tate's
investigations in the last few weeks, including Andrew Tate talking about rape to a woman in a pretty unsavory manner. So what would your reaction be to that?
It's a fetish. Telling a girl that he likes it when they don't enjoy having sex with him is just a fetish. I mean, it's just a fetish. We already talked about this. There's a difference between CNC, which is consensual non-consent, which is like, you know, liking the fantasy of something like that, versus like the way that he talked about it, which is he seems to actually genuinely like it when women don't enjoy having sex with him. So,
first of all, I think the authenticity of anything that is presented through the media as opposed to turned over to the defense needs to be questioned because material is edited and it's easily manipulated. So first, I would say that. Secondly, I don't think certain text messages, I'm not here to judge or to talk to people's desires or fetishes, but certainly somebody could easily set someone up by saying they have certain fantasies, they want certain things done to them or said to them. And so there's a lot that goes into. You can't take a text message out of context. You first have to know, first of all, the entire context of it and what the background is. There needs to be explanation. So I think you have to keep all of that in mind when you're seeing something in the media.
We do, and we have to keep in mind also the judge's reasoning for all this. They explained on the 20th of January that they viewed the particular dangerousness of the defendants and their capacity to identify victims with increased vulnerability in search of better life opportunities. So all of this has to be taken into account. But it goes on, and as you rightly say, at the moment, there have been no charges against your clients. And until or if that point arrives, we're in a world of allegation, not actual charges.
Correct. And right now, exactly, there's a presumption of innocence that every accused has, and that attaches from the time you're even charged. And here, we're not even there. They haven't even charged.
Yeah, there's a presumption of innocence unless your client is on social media saying that they did it, which he's on like YouTube saying it. It's from years ago, but it's still, you know.
Them with crimes. So any sort of comments as to their alleged dangerousness, there's no evidence of that. There isn't even a presumption of that. They need to be presumed innocent, and that hasn't happened in this case. There's really a lack of evidence, and they are being detained unlawfully.
Oh, happy birthday.
Tina Glandian, I appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much indeed.
Okay, cool video.
Thank you, Pierce.
Wow, incredible.
I want Papa God to pee on my face, but just as a friend. There's nothing weird about that. I want him to pee on my face.